Very good afternoon, good evening to all the participants here. We have with us Mrs. Uzma Hussain. She's a senior commercial studies teacher. Ma'am, shall we begin now? Uh,
Thank you,
it's a
sir.
small group, so we'll keep it interactive also.
Yes.
And you can start. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Teachers, let us have an interactive session. First of all, I was expecting a big number, but then that's fine. We are 42 participants. What we are going to do is today we will be discussing about. We'll go through first the bifurcated syllabus. Once the bifurcated syllabus is done, we will check on the reduced syllabus. Once discussing the reduced syllabus, I have a small PPT on wherein so many years of experience of teaching commercial studies. I have put in certain inputs, going through certain papers. Over the years, so many papers we have also seen, certain specific questions, how CISCE, kind of frame questions, and then we will go through the semester 2 paper. So that's how the whole idea is about. So I'll just share the screen. We'll see the bifurcated syllabus first. So I would appreciate if the session is interactive, and if any query is there, you can raise your hand so that we can resolve the query there and there, rather waiting it for later to be solved. The first and foremost important thing is if textbooks, we got to have our textbooks with us. So beginning with semester 2 portion, do you know how helter skelter it was? We've come to a platform where, I mean, I as a teacher would never want to teach in this manner, but we've come to a platform where things have got very different. From chalkboard, we've come to a whiteboard, and then we've come to a platform where we are interacting with children as into a big physical distance and not in classrooms. Thankfully, now we have sessions where our students are coming to school. So coming back to semester 2 portion, if we talk about the bifurcated syllabus, if you see the first part, the first unit talks about finance and accounting. I would request teachers, if you can mute yourself, please. I think so, Mr. Raju Kumar, sir, if you can mute yourself, please. Yeah, thank you. So this is the bifurcated syllabus. The bifurcated syllabus talks about, we will go through the units. The first chapter here, as in the semester 2 portion, we have final accounts of a sole trader. We will see a detailed discussion gradually. Then we have budgeting. When we talk about final accounts of a sole proprietor, chapter number 7, which is given in the textbook. And then we have budgeting, sources of finance, wherein specifically they have mentioned about capital market, sources of raising capital. Human resource, the complete unit. Human resource comprises of recruitment, which we will see, recruitment and selection, and logistics also they have mentioned complete unit. Banking. So in all, semester 2 portion, if you go to your index page on the textbook, chapter number 7 we have for semester 2 portion, final accounts of a sole trader. And then from chapter number 9 to chapter number 14, in which chapter number 12 is omitted. We don't have that chapter. It's out of scope, rather, I should say. So industrial relations, trade union and social security, that is not to be done as per the syllabus. So as per the reduced syllabus, in all we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 chapters to be done for semester 2 portion. Let us move on to the reduced syllabus. Now moving on to the reduced syllabus, we will go chapter wise. So when we go to chapter wise, the reduced syllabus, take the last chapter. I would be discussing from the end. So go to the chapter which is banking. It will be a detailed discussion. So kindly note, now when we go to the banking part, where we have banking mentioned, this is the unit which is given banking. Central Bank. I would be referring to the textbook so that it is very clear to all teachers. It is CB Gupta book. We have meaning of banking. Meaning of banking very clearly mentioned, banking. So we will be doing meaning of banking, a little bit of meaning of banking. Then Straight away coming to central bank. Central bank, quite a big paragraph is mentioned where it talks about what is the central bank, which is the central bank of our country. Yes, Yash, let me finish and then I'll get back to you just about the chapter discussion. Then I will move. I'll solve the queries. The next one, we have the difference given between commercial bank and central bank. That needs to be done completely. We are now in the verge where we have a semester 2 portion or semester 2 paper which is in the objective form also. So we cannot skip, we cannot afford to skip a certain point and say that you only study 3 questions or study only the 3 pointers, because only 3 pointers are asked in the paper. We will have to see to it that all the points are discussed, explained and learned by the child in the class. So that's the work of the teacher to make it sure, very clear, that the child should know the difference between central bank and commercial bank. Then further on, after the functions of central bank, after the difference, we straight away move on to the functions of central bank. We got to do all the functions very well. Knowing the functions, one very important thing we need to know when we talk about monopoly of note issue, or we talk about custodian of foreign exchange, or lender of the last resort, or when we talk about maintaining exchange rate, when we talk about such functions, it is very important for us to make the child understand that when he is writing or she is writing about monopoly of note issue, the child needs to write a proper reason. It is not that the RBI is authorized to issue notes, that is all. That's not the sentence what we want. It is to us as commerce teachers to make the child understand that we will not be giving marks just to one liners. It is important for the child to justify the pointer, monopoly of note issue, why, and why 1 rupee note is not printed, and why it is printed, or why it is printed by the Ministry of Finance. Same way when we talk about lender of last resort, why it is a lender of last resort, or why it is a banker's bank. We need to mention because it is a fiscal advisor, and so many other things are there with reference to when we talk about banker's bank or government's bank. So functions of central bank, again here we will not be skipping any other sub point there. We will be doing all the functions. So when we say functions, alternate word for functions can be role also. Role of function, or role of central bank, or role of RBI. It means the same. Then we move on to 14.7. From 14.4 to 14.6, we don't have anything. As it is given in the textbook, I'm reading out the pointers. So if you see here, in the syllabus, central bank, meaning and functions, difference between central bank and commercial bank. And as we move on further, straight away it jumps to internet banking. Internet banking very clearly mention modes of transferring money online or net banking, where they have mentioned about NEFT, RTGS, IMPS, mobile wallets, meaning only. Meaning only, I would suggest that apart from the meaning, please do teach them kind of the procedure also, the process, and the kind of I would say the objective. So to some places you will not have the procedure, some places you will have the objective. So accordingly we got to teach the children in that manner, where the child will be able to write. So when we talk about NEFT or we talk about RTGS, now when a difference is given between NEFT and RTGS, full form is not a difference. Okay, full form, the child writes it is National Electronic Fund Transfer and it is real time gross settlement, and we put it in the difference form. We teach the child in a difference form. That is not difference, that's the full form, where marks will not be allotted. Again here it depends upon the council's evaluation scheme for that year. Maybe the council may allot, but we as teachers, we should try and inform or convey the right thing to the children, telling them the right thing, that this is not the difference, it is just the full form. You're expanding the short form what is given to you. So it is very important that we do not teach them in that manner. Difference means we need to give the right procedure. Now in our textbook we have the difference given between NEFT and RTGS. I will again stress here, when we go for corrections or when we discuss on on basis where we talk about with reference to notes or something, children tend to write only pointers, only the keywords. Make them understand that they got to write statements. So full statement is required when it comes to any concept, or when it comes to especially difference between. Then we have the IMPS, mobile wallets or e-wallets. Okay, that also is fine. E-wallets, meaning only. An ATM, credit card, debit card, again meaning difference, caution to be taken while using these cards. Very important, caution to be taken. The children write whatever they feel. They feel ATM, electronic card hai, to anything, whatever they feel, they will write. It is very important for us to make them understand again here that caution. If it is a debit card, what is the caution? If it is a credit card, everywhere OTP and password is not the only point. We have many other points which we can explain to the children. So you try and make the chapter, or when you're revising, now of course nobody must be teaching, your syllabus must be over. We now, it is important now for us to teach or revise in a manner where children will be able to understand better and retain the matter with them. So they should carry forward gradually to the next class or for the exam, and that's how they will apply the knowledge further. So this should be their objective as a teacher. That should be our objective of not only teaching only for semester 2, but we try and we teach that the child is able to apply the knowledge.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutor and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Now further on, when we talk about the financial fraudulent practices, the financial fraudulent practices, again, that is very categorically mentioned in the syllabus. Credit card fraud, false accounting fraud, if you talk about intellectual property fraud, cyber fraud, we are not expecting big answers on it, but understanding. And I would suggest that when I teach my children, I always see to it that my students write an example. So when it is a credit card fraud, you will not have everything in the reference book or any other book. You will have to look for examples as a teacher. Give them correct examples so that they can relate. So if it's a credit card fraud, what example can you give? False accounting fraud is there. Insurance fraud, there are so many things, so many examples which may come across. A practical example which you can tell the child. Cyber and internet fraud is something very common. And when we talk about pertaining to the board exams or pertaining to the question papers, we have seen financial fraudulent practices since the time it has come. It is a new thing which has come up, I think so last 4 years. Since the time it has come, it is always asked in the paper. Either of the fraud is always asked. So we got to know that this is a kind of an important part where the child should know how a credit card fraud is different from a cyber fraud. Everything is not related to internet, or everything is not related to virus or some kind of a pin or security. There are so many other things which takes place with reference to banking. So in banking, what all frauds takes place, that is what is mentioned here pertaining to the chapter. So it is important for us to teach in that manner where the child is able to apply the knowledge. Yes, Mr. Yash, you had a query. You raised your hand.
Ma'am, I was asking which book do you refer?
Sir, I am referring C.B. Gupta, Goyal Brothers. This is
Okay, ma'am.
commercial studies, yes. And then there are many books which I also refer. There's one ABS publication, commercial application, just to get kind of extra information. Sometimes we do refer that as well. But majorly we are referring entire Mumbai, actually we are referring the same book. So shall I move on to the next chapter? We will move on now to the unit which is logistics. Now in the textbook or in the syllabus it is mentioned logistics, but logistics and insurance. Yes. So when we move on to further chapter, logistics, when we talk about logistics, it's very clearly mentioned logistics, meaning of logistics and classifications. Now classification, there are 4 pointers given: transportation, warehousing, order processing, inventory management. We have when we went for the cell meeting for commercial studies, even there it was mentioned very clearly to us When we talk about classification, warehousing of course is mentioned there, but meaning of logistics, we will be doing the modes of transportation. So if you have the textbook with you, you can go to page 177, page 177. There you have the learning objectives. Just in the beginning of the chapter, you can put a tick mark there so that you know what all needs to be done as per the syllabus. So we have meaning of logistics, modes of transportation. Modes of transportation highlight the the water transport, rail transport, the advantage and the disadvantage. Try and teach the comparative analysis, that how other one transport is better as compared to the other. Give proper technical reasons. We do not want reasons related to geography. We are not talking about temperature, we're not talking about the area. We are referring with terms of, in terms of business, in terms of commercial studies. So when we teach children, we teach and we give reasons pertaining to that. If we talk about and one more thing, okay, I'll discuss that when we go to the answer, rather discussing now. So modes of transportation is one. I have also done with my students, which you wish to do, you can also do, choice of suitable mode of transportation. This gives an idea to student to know the suitability. How do I, if a question comes, to compare between road and rail transport or waterways and airways, how do I put the suitable points? So that is why if you teach the suitability, the suitable conditions, under which conditions which particular mode of transport can be taken, then it becomes easier for the student. Then from meaning of warehousing, we have meaning of warehousing, we have the significance of warehousing, given importance. Type is restricted to public, private and bonded only. They are not doing cold storage warehouses. Now make a note here, for public, private and bonded, we need to know who it belongs to, whom, that is owned and controlled by, who is owning and controlling, whether it is private, public or bonded. This you have to teach children. Ownership and control, where is the location, where it is located, the procedure, how you get into, why there is a public warehouse, what is the need for a public warehouse, what is the need for the private warehouse, and why there is a bonded warehouse. So it's not about the documentation, but it is about the need and purpose. So when, if at all, there is a kind of a short note which comes for 3 marks, which is now, if you see the semester 2 portion, that's the maximum mark. If there is a short note which comes in, a child should know that he has to start from meaning. He will start, warehousing. What is warehousing? Maybe one line. Then one of the type is public warehouse, or straight away come to public warehouse, where he talk about the ownership and control. Then he talks about the procedure, why there is a need to have. Then why are they located? Why a bonded warehouse is located near the ports? Why public warehouses are located near super highways? Why there is a reason for it. That needs to be mentioned. And finally, you highlight certain advantages and certain disadvantages, and that's how your answer is complete. You give a kind of a summary, a bird's eye view completely, when we talk about any particular warehouse, whether it's public, private or bonded. Now let's come up to then
The applications were.
Next, further we have there is documents used in warehousing, which is not there in the portion. Then we come to insurance. This is one part, I don't know why students feel very difficult, very difficult. So we have meaning of insurance. I do not teach any definition to students. After the definition in the textbook, we have a kind of paragraph given which says, thus insurance is defined as a contract in writing, making them understand कि insurance होता क्या है, why insurance is required, why it's a contract in writing. I prefer giving them a kind of meaning where they can understand better. So we suggest always to children to write, not if you are comfortable and if you know that your student will be learning a better definition, because the moment you define somebody, you're quoting somebody, you cannot miss on a word. If you're missing on a word, misquoting somebody, so then there are chances where the child will lose marks. So it is always better that you put it in a manner where insurance is defined as, and then the child will give the explanation, and it should not be self-explanatory. Remember, any meaning, any concept, when the child is writing, it is important for the child to put it in a manner where it is not self-explanatory. The child needs to know the keywords. That's the most important thing. Then we have the types of insurances. Types of insurances, again, categorically, they have mentioned very clearly what you require: life insurance, general insurance, fire, health, marine insurance. Meaning only, we need to know the meaning only. What is fire insurance, how it is different from health insurance, and how general insurance is different. There is a difference given between assurance and insurance, which I have made my students do. I would suggest that that's not mentioned here in the syllabus, but still an additional thing which I have told my students to do, a difference between insurance and assurance, just to make them understand, give a better picture about insurance.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at rupees 1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutor and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Then finally, we move on to the principles of insurance. Principles of insurance, we have the principles given very well. The first one says very clearly, utmost good faith. So utmost good faith, why there is a utmost good faith? What is the need? We need to explain. See, it is very important, coming to the subject, when it is, as a teacher, I need to know my subject very well. If I have a phobia in me, I will pass on the phobia to others. Or if I have confusion in me, I will pass on the same confusion to my student. So if you are not very clear with the principles, you can refer online. You have, we have YouTube videos. We have different other platforms. There are reference books which are there. You may refer to those and then only make it very clear to children. So explain them well, or you yourself read it very well, so that when you put it across to the student should understand that yes, that how doctrine of subrogation is different from mitigation of loss, or why there is a need for contribution. We need to make children understand very well. So when you're revising, you break the insurance, the principles of insurance in a manner where you are able to make the child understand that what is indemnity. Indemnity is a promise to compensate. Why it is a promise to compensate? When there is a certain event taking place, why it is not happening in life insurance policy, why it is like that. All that we need to explain it very well. As I told you, that if at all I am confused, I will end up confusing everyone, all my students, and then they will feel, अरे क्या बोला है, क्या सिखाया है, समझ नहीं आया, maybe हमको नहीं समझ आया है, हमको नहीं समझ आया है. This should not be the approach. It should be that we are clear with us. And maximum times we have seen when we go for corrections, principles of insurance is where the child has made a mistake. So the child has written the heading correct, but what is the explanation? He doesn't know himself what he's writing. So it's very important, and do not make them, that rote learning thing is not good. So I know we have such kind of students also who mug up everything. That's a different thing altogether, but we should not be. Yes, Miss Kanchan?
Yes, ma'am. Can we explain the principle with the help of examples?
Of course. Of course. It will be well and good if you explain the principles with the examples. Okay. So when we talk about, yes, Mr. Umesh?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Ma'am, in the earlier cell meeting, it was said that modes of transport we don't have to do, and now you are saying modes of transport we have to do.
So we will. What I have told is very clearly. See, meaning of logistics, it's classification. Now, if you see the semester 2 portion, the semester 2 paper. The semester 2 paper.
But ma'am, there is no question in the specimen paper which is related to modes of transport, and our school will be having prelims next month.
Yes, ma'am.
So
even in the cell meet, it was said that there will be no modes of transportation.
Modes of transport we don't have to
do. See, madam, modes of transportation, if you will not do modes of transportation, I would suggest when yes, in the cell meeting it was told that we are not doing modes of transportation. It was clarified also that modes of as I told you, modes of transportation I am doing with my students, and I have taught them also that how a particular mode of transportation is better as compared to others. Same way, assurance and insurance also is nowhere mentioned. Here. They have only mentioned about insurance, and they've mentioned categorically. So again here, if you wish, you have to do assurance and insurance, you may go ahead. I have done modes of transportation with the children. Again, I'm telling you, do not take it that that it is a portion which we have to complete. Put it in a manner where they can also do self-study. And I'm sure we are not talking about significance of transportation. We are basically here seeing the classification of logistics. So when we talk about the classification of logistics, warehousing is mentioned, and transportation is also there, where I have done with my students. What I have done along with that, the syllabus, I am conveying that to you. If up to you, if you feel that you should not be, even we are starting up. I mean, I am starting my prelims in this week only, but we have done that, so that's a different thing. So if your wish, madam and sir, if you wish to go with modes of transportation, most welcome. It will be a help to children. Now further on, when we move on to human resources, recruitment and selection only, the chapter does not have training. So we have chapter 12 in the textbook, which we don't have. So we move on to chapter 11. Chapter 11, page 143, recruitment, selection. Recruitment, we have the meaning of recruitment very clearly. We again here need to make the student understand how recruitment is different from selection and why it is a positive process. Yes, Ms. Juhi?
Ma'am, could you please just scroll it up, the syllabus a little bit? I can't see that.
I am here. Are you able to? Okay. We're doing
Yes,
recruitment and selection.
all right.
Yeah. So when we talk about recruitment and selection, it is meaning of recruitment. Meaning of recruitment, we need to teach them why it is a positive process, why it is different from selection. What are the sources for recruitment? So we have the internal sources of recruitment, where we talk about promotion and transfer. How promotion and transfer is different, how both are different. Still, they're coming into the internal sources of recruitment. And then when we talk about the external sources of recruitment, there are many external sources of recruitment, all become very important now here when we talk about this chapter, because this chapter training is completely eliminated, no training at all. Then we have the advantages and disadvantages of internal and external external sources of recruitment. Now when we talk about the sources of recruitment, again here, campus interview, or you talk about advertisement, or you talk about casual callers, or you talk about the references of the steps, what is given in the employment exchange, placement agencies, recommendations. Now these, the child should know that why it is external source of recruitment, and what is the highlight of it. What is the highlight? Why a campus interview is there is a merit of campus interview to the organization and to the candidate, and what is the limitation. So that needs to be informed to the children. May not be multiple examples given, may not be multiple merits and demerits given. We need to again here make it clear that if a question comes on campus recruitment or recommendation or direct recruitment, the child should know that what is direct recruitment, what is the advantage and disadvantage, particularly of a particular source of recruitment, whether internal or external source of recruitment. Coming to selection, they have again very categorically said selection being a negative process. So we have the difference given between recruitment and selection. So there is nothing given between, no difference is given, but we are teaching the difference between recruitment and selection. And meaning also is taught. So a 2-mark meaning with 4 keywords. Steps, the steps which are given in the textbook, steps go in the same manner, and types of selection test. So when we talk about the steps, when we say the procedure cannot start with final approval, placement, and then preliminary interview, and then application blank. It is very important for us to make student understand any procedure or any kind of, when we talk about steps, it has to start in the series form only. So if it is a series form, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when it is starting, it has to start with the preliminary interview, then application bank, and then further on the selection test, and then move on further. So when we teach children, we have to teach children in the same manner. A procedure cannot be taught the 9th point first and the first point going to the 9th point. That cannot be considered in selection, the steps in the selection process. And then finally, types of selection test. Types of selection test, please stress on certain examples. Child should know what is an intelligent quotient test. Child should know what is a dexterity test, what is a trait test, why interest test becomes important. And I, again, in my class, I have taught that why interest test is conducted, why a personality test is required. I have just explained them, because we had this online platform where we had more time, rather I would say, because the classes were conducted online when we were teaching these topics. So we had more time as compared to other batches. We had sessions where we could conduct classes extra. So I have tried to make my students understand the types in the selection test, why IQ is required, why intelligence is required, why aptitude is required, and for which particular job aptitude is required. So I've made a little more kind of, fine tuning to it to make them understand the types in the selection test, where I have taught them examples also. Examples are very well given in the textbook. We can refer to the examples only and move on further. There is no way where we teach them extra or something. This is the end of human resources, that is recruitment and selection.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutor and avail your courses at affordable prices.
And further on, when we move on, we have a new chapter, sources of finance. Sources of finance. Last year we had a lot more to be done. This year it is all eliminated. So we have not much in this chapter to be done. So sources of finance, we have capital market. We need to make them understand what is the capital market, what is a money market also. It will be good for them to differentiate capital and secondary capital market. Now, in capital market, they have not mentioned about primary and secondary market. I have taught children that why primary is a new issue market, secondary where buying and selling takes place, it's a stock exchange. I have done that to make the concept clear. Our whole ideology and the objective for the teacher should be that we make it clear. And this is one chapter which is new to them. You try and put in extra things, extra matter, current examples. You relate. Definitely there is a feedback where the children will learn and they themselves come up with certain things, ma'am, about securities or about shares. They themselves come up with the next class, they'll come up with certain things that this company, I got this information. So when we talk about capital market, it is important that we explain them why a capital market is required in the economy and what is the sources of finance, what is a short-term and long-term fund. And functions of capital market is very, very technical, given very clearly in the textbook. We refer to that and we teach that the way we have taught, probably everyone we must have taught. There are certain questions, like you can have a question on capital formation. What is capital formation can come. So again here, all the 9 functions which are given become very, very important pertaining to capital market. Now, sources of raising capital, long-term funds. So long-term funds meaning very clearly mentioned there. They say that we have sources of raising capital. We have the equity shares, the ordinary shares, and we have the preference shares. Then we do not have retained earnings and etc. We straight away go to debentures and bonds. Now in the debentures and bonds, I have taught the difference between shares and debentures also to students. So we have the difference between shares and debentures. Then we skip public deposit, which is not there in the portion. Loans from commercial bank. Again, loans for commercial bank, they have categorically mentioned cash credit, overdraft and discounting of bills of exchange. Again, this we need to make them understand very well. Now, one very important thing we need to know is they have said very clearly meaning only. So meaning Here again, meaning. But teaching only meaning is not enough. If you see the difference between shares, we have list of differences given. So as I told you, that you try and put it in a manner that why an equity share, and of course we're not teaching different types of shares. All those are not required. But other than that, there is a lot which you can explain to the child, why voting rights and why not voting rights in preference shares. Then one very important thing here, teachers. Yes, the difference which is given between on page 129, the difference between preference and equity shares. The terms as I given, see, if you see the points of distinction, they have given very well points of distinction. At times children forget to write the points of distinction. We train them to write the points of distinction also. So basis of distinction, along with when we say nominal value, the nominal value of an ordinary share is generally low, making them understand that they got to write in proper complete statements. We will not just write keywords. There is no deduction, of course, when it comes to cutting marks or something. But we try and we tell them, because any time any procedure changes from the council's end, we don't know what change comes up and where we have to cut marks. So it is better that we teach children in a manner where they are framing complete statements. So if the child studies the difference very well, he'll be able to write what is an equity share very nicely. So if you train whether it's equity or whether it's preference, if he's studying the difference properly, he'll be able to write the meaning of a particular security. Now, if we further move on to the chapter budgeting. Budgeting, kind of very easy chapter. So, meaning of budget and budgeting, the child should know what is budget. Budget is a plan of operation. Budgeting is the process of preparing the plan of operation. That is required. So, meaning of budgeting. Forecasting is not required, as it is said that only the comparison. So no meaning, but comparison, you see the comparison is given in para form. A nice para form pointers are given. We need to teach children why budgeting and forecasting are two different things. Utility of budgeting is required, and in utility of budgeting we have, there are 7 points given. The 7 points given, all 7 points become very, very important. Can come, budgetary control question can come for 2 marks. Delegation of authority can also be asked in kind of a question where they expect you to write down that how delegation of authority leads to a budget to be a fruitful budget for a company. The child should be able to justify an answer. That's the whole idea when they talk about utility of budget. And comparison is given. Types, again, types are limited. Sales, production, cash, purchase, and master. Master budget, meaning only of all. So master is the summary of all budget. When we talk about sales, production, we need to know, when we talk about sales budget is prepared. What is the objective? First of all, why sales budget? So sales budget, what is the kind of objective of preparing a sales budget? Who is preparing the sales budget? It is the salesman. It is given very, very clearly in the first paragraph itself of the sales budget. The sales manager is preparing the sales budget. That is the first budget prepared. It lays down the basis for other budgets. So all these pointers are important. These are all keywords. When the child will write, the child should not run around, just go take turns and write all, maybe 4 or 5 lines the child has written. But it is not meaning what we require, what the keyword, what we are looking for. So it's very important. Now, if you talk about the sales budget very clearly says it is the fundamental. It creates, that forms the fundamental basis for all other budgets. That's the first budget prepared. And then further on it says very clearly the objective is that it lays down the revenue goals. So sales budget is clear. Same with production budget. When we talk about production budget, why production budget? Majorly what I feel is, when we talk about the objective part, they will focus on budget is one part. They will focus on ATM, credit card, debit card, where they will focus on the objective part, the 10-mark question which is there in the semester 2 paper. Probably they will focus there more rather than giving questions where they have to ask 3 marks. They will move on more to functions and recruitment process हो गया, selection process हो गया, sources of external sources of recruitment हो गया. वहाँ पे maybe in section B they may highlight certain questions. When we talk about budget, sales, production, there I feel they may put in the objective part.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows three-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tuesday and avail your courses at affordable prices.
So budgeting chapter done, and then we have final accounts. So when we move on further for final accounts chapter, I'm sure we all are going through the chapter. We've taught the chapter very well. So preparation of manufacturing or trading account, profit and loss account, balance sheet. The format is completely different now. You've seen the format, so it is like a kind of a fill in the blank format. We have to give practice in the same format. You try and give, maybe in between one complete sum where the child has to do a complete sum, and gradually, like every day, what I am doing now is like a 40-mark session. When we are having a hybrid platform, everyone is not coming to school. So what we do is in a week we have a session where we have one final account sum where the students solve the sum, and on Monday when I start the session, once class we do with fill in the blank sums. So like that we just finished 2 weeks. So four sums are done in 2 weeks. One on Monday, one sum with fill in the blanks, and one sum Friday where we do the child does the complete sum. We try our bit as teachers, every bit that the child should not miss on marks. This time there is no heading statement. The marks from 10 it is reached to 6 marks question. So we don't have so much to worry. It is only posting of entries and feeding in the correct numbers. It is very important that they are posting the right numbers. Irrespective of the child gets, try and give a practice of a net loss sum also, where the child is getting a net loss or a gross loss. It should not be that child is worried that why, because blanks are given on both the ends, net loss, gross loss, net profit, net gross loss. So it is given on both the ends, debit side and credit side. It is we to decide when we calculate that where we have to post. That is important. So we need to give practice to students of both the different types of sums. Do not just go on one way where we are giving only gross profit sums. Try and give sums where you have loss so that they are subtracting it from drawings so that you get the entry correct and the child will know how to post the entry. Anything pertaining to the syllabus further, or shall I move on further to the PowerPoint presentation? Yes, Ms. Juhi?
Ma'am, actually I wanted to ask that in this only adjustment for closing stock is coming.
Yes, only adjustment for closing stock. It is so many years, 10 plus years, we are just having one adjustment, closing stock adjustment.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. So we move on further. I will just share the screen here. Okay, when we talking about this, I will not show the slide. Now the assessment, CISCE assessment has changed. We know very well that we have an assessment of board projects. I did not on purpose discuss reduced syllabus, the board projects because I wanted to discuss here. We have our council meeting, the cell meeting told us 2 projects to be done. So we have assignments given in written form in the reduced syllabus that 3 board assignments have to be done. So 3 board assignments, you have to decide as a teacher what you want to do, whether you want to give a board assignment or whether you want to give a project. So what we do is, I generally do every year, I give a project, one project to student. So students do one project. So now is the March ending when the new session starts, we give them the project sheet to them. That this is how the project I want you to do the project. Now the project is basically on chapters like recruitment and selection. I do not ask them for submission so very early. So we plan in a way that the project chapter is in the beginning. So if I give marketing and sales, or you talk about sales promotion techniques, Do not make a project which goes into pages and pages. Let it be a project which is where there is learning taking place. That's the most important thing. We should not have 50 pages or 30 pages ka, project, but project mein kuch learning nahi hai. It is very important for us to make the child understand that what is the learning objective. If I am giving an advertising or a marketing project, it is very important for me to convey to the student that if it's a concluding statement, if some concluding statement is given, we need to make the child understand that this was the objective, or it is not just mere 20 marks. It is about the learning also. That's very, very important. There's no viva, there is no other way out. So we need to put it in a very interesting manner and relate to companies which are in, probably in trend, or relate to companies which are probably having a downfall, something which is known to students, something which is practical, so that you are able to get your projects in a beautiful manner. And believe me, if you try and put an effort as a teacher, then definitely children come up with very good ideas. So they come up, like we had a recruitment and selection project this year. I had given in the month of after the semester exams, of course, but we gave the sheets before. They came up with different companies. So we had few students who had done Airtel, few did with Reliance. So recruitment selection policies of certain different companies. So that way you can give variety of projects to children. It's only a little more hard work is required, and always give a kind of learning objective to the child when he or she is doing the project. That's the most important thing. So this is the 20 marks and 80 marks. We very well know 40 marks is done, and we have the semester 2 which is pending. Hopefully we'll have for 40 marks. Now section A, the entire semester 2 pattern, what we have seen, I was not expecting this, to be very clear, kind of frank with you. I did not expect fill in the blanks in semester 2 paper, and that too same way with it's like MCQ only. I did not expect this. So here what is happening is, the drawback here is that the child has to read the textbook very well. So again he goes back to reading and writing. That will go on throughout. Earlier we had MCQ until September. We ourselves were telling children, do not write. You go fill the Google form. We were posting the forms to them. We were telling them highlight the answers. Now we are telling them you have to write. You have to write the answers, know how to write the answers. And then here we have section A, where they only have to write, not even rewrite the statement. So they make it so very convenient for students, where the child only has to choose the correct option and just write the answer, whatever is the answer. Now when we come to the section B part, where they say any 3 questions as per the semester 2 questions.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you just please repeat once again the part that you said, the pattern?
The pattern. So ma'am, semester 2 paper, section A is completely objective, which is for 10 marks, where we are having fill in the blanks. So we need to make them student understand that they have to read. Reading is very important, whether it is from the question bank or from the chapter. They got to read the chapter very well. All the chapters have to be read, and it is almost similar to semester 1. So they have this 10 marks. So we cannot have that kind of approach where okay, chalo ye nahi hai to ye answer hai. That cannot be done now. Again, here we need to make them understand that earlier what I was thinking is that semester 1 ho gaya hai, chalo, if there is a student who's got less marks, maybe 37 or 38, he should have got 40 on 40. Now we will cover up in semester 2 portion, getting him 40 on 40. Again, here the hurdle is that for the child to get 40 on 40 is not so easy, because again fill in the blanks, the child has to read, oh, this is from which chapter. They are now getting confused between sources of finance and banking. Somewhere when we talk about discounting of bills, they feel discounting of bills banking mein hai, कि discounting of bills sources of finance mein. Overdraft ma'am किस में है? Overdraft banking में है या sources of finance? This is the confusion, and not many chapters. Still the confusion, because they are not reading the text. So it is very important for us to make them realize that reading is very important. Now section B, our paper consists of 2 sections only. Section A, which is already done, and section B, section A 10 marks, section B very clearly mentioned any 3 questions only. So any 3 questions 30 marks questions, where it is divided into 2-2 format and 3-3. So total question, sub question is for 10 marks each. So we have descriptive type of questions. When we say descriptive type of questions, which type of questions now here? So when we say descriptive, the child needs to describe a certain thing. So describe what, when we talk about describe the procedure, those are descriptive type of questions. Child should know that it is not the child, it is not asking me why it is, or the child is not, it is not asking me the concept what. The child should know when it comes to a descriptive question that the child needs to discuss and write the answer in proper form. Of course, encourage your student to write in pointers. That's the most important thing, writing in pointers. Suppose if the child is unable to write in pointers, and every time you tell the child he's not writing in pointers, at least tell him that once you finish a statement, start in the next line. May not be putting pointers or something, at least start in the next line. And teach them when it comes to a subjective answer for 3 marks. If the question says explain the role of or discuss the role of the functions of central bank. So if you talk about monopoly of note issue, teach them, write the caption, start the explanation from the next line. That gives a weightage and kind of impression to the examiner. Let me see, there are too many things in the chat. So, okay, let's put samples. Next different type of question can be.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutor and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Next is difference between. So we have the distinguish between. Every time we know very well distinction between. Should have the basis of distinction. Avoid putting, if we have recruitment and selection, positive, negative. ये नहीं चाहिए हमको. Keywords नहीं चाहिए. They tell them they are writing an answer. When they are writing an answer, it is very important for them to put it in a sentence. Only then it is not easy. 1 mark इतना easily कैसे मिल जाता है? Though council is very lenient and we try to be student friendly when we go for corrections, but it is not that you make your student realize that that important ही नहीं है. चलो one word भी लिख लो. वैसे नहीं होना चाहिए. That approach should not be there. When we have certain direct questions with specific 2 or 3 points which is given, so any 2 functions, any 2 steps, any 2 selection test, give or explain the 2 internal or external sources of recruitment. So these are direct specific questions which we can easily tell them to write. So when it is given 2, it is clear that it is a 2 mark question, 2 points asked. Suppose if it's a 3 mark question, and now you will see specimen paper, it is given 3 mark question is given and 2 pointers asked. So you have to make them understand that it is 1.5 mark each. 1.5 mark for one function, 1.5 mark for the second function. The child should know how much he has to write, and the caption also carries, that is the header point, also carries marks. Comparative questions, we need to make them understand a difference is always in tabular form. A T form, we put the basis of distinction also. When we have comparison, a comparative, why it is different from this, we don't have to make tables. Though at the board level, we at times consider and we give marks, but a comparative question should always be in point form. That's how a teacher is. You have to teach children to understand different types of questions and how to interpret a question and write the answer accordingly. So comparative questions, there is no need for us to put T form, tabular form and tabular form karke likh do. The reference book has this tabular form, but we're not teaching them. When it comes to writing an answer, it's important that the child needs to put in a proper explanation, like how we have the comparison given between, we have the chapter capital and revenue expenditure. We have the difference given very well, the comparison given. Same way budgeting and forecasting also is given in pointers. So when there is a comparison, we will put it in the comparisons in proper para form or in point form, not in tabular form. Short notes. Make the child understand that short note doesn't mean what is the meaning of this and you forget the meaning, and you write the meaning and you forget the answer. If it's a 3-mark answer, you make sure that the child is at least writing, the child should have around 6 to 8 keywords where the child is writing the concept, writing the process or objective, highlighting one advantage and writing the disadvantage. And the advantage and disadvantage should not be contradictory, that okay, it can do, cannot do. We don't want such answers. Teach them how to write quality answers. So it should be when your student is writing the answer is written, the answer should have a lot of quality in it. We don't want pages and pages or paras and paras. It is important, but we have to teach, like the same knowledge he should carry forward, he or she should carry forward to the next class. So when it comes to short note, it is very important. The child should know the concept, that's the meaning. Then the procedure, what if there's a procedure or the objective of it. And then after the objective, tell him to put the merit and demerit, or only the merit. That's how you complete a short note. Do not just the meaning is not the correct way. And finally, we have the final accounts, which is given for 6 marks this time in the semester 2 portion. Then we have certain questions where I have put in the blue box, direct questions for keywords.
Ma'am, we can't see your PPT screen. We are seeing only the reduced portion.
What are you saying? 1 minute. Are you able to see now?
Oh. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, now.
Thank you. Hey, you all should have told me. One of you should have told me. Thank you, Simran.
Welcome.
So when we talk about the section B part, where we have descriptive questions, difference, short notes, we have something which is termed as, yes.
Ma'am, it's showing the assessment procedure. Can you just move to the section B part?
Now is it seen?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so it's section B, any 3 questions, it's a blue slide. Is it clear now? Seen?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So when we talk about section B, we have such type of questions where we have descriptive forms, short notes, direct questions, comparative questions. Then we have certain questions where we talk about a 2-mark question also has come up now in section B, where we have direct questions. When we have direct questions, it's important for students, for teachers to make them understand that we require 4 keywords. Again, here there is no way where we've been told by the council or we've been told in the cell meeting that you have to underline the keywords. Not required. But I am teaching as a teacher to make them know that underline the keywords. If you have not taught, there is no compulsion. It was not mentioned in the cell meeting, but I am doing that. I make my student understand that you feel there are 4 keywords in your answer. Underline the 4 keywords. What you feel, because every child's perspective is different. They come up to me and they say, "Ma'am, how do we underline 4 keywords? How do you know it is a keyword and this is not? That's not a keyword." That gradually. So when you make the practice from class 9th, teaching them, you underline the keyword. This is the keyword for this. When you keep doing that, when you're teaching also, gradually the children learn this habit of writing and keywords and underlining the keywords. Then there are statements which says justify. Whenever the word says justify, like we talk about recruitment is a positive process, justify, teach them, justify is nothing but you are agreeing to the statement. So you will write an explanation for the statement. So it is a positive process. Why? Because it's creating a pool for candidates to apply and so many other things. So when you are talking with reference to justification, you are agreeing to the statement as a student. We don't have to write yes or no. We have to give a reason why it is so and so. Why are we justifying it? But when it comes to comment generally, till now, council has given many questions where they have asked for comment. But majorly what happens is comment is the justified answer only. So like selection is a negative process, comment. There is no way where the child has to agree or disagree. The child has to agree because the statement is correct. So nowhere till now, over the span of so many years, the council has given an incorrect question or kind of a pointer where they would want the child to agree or disagree. But when it is comment, basically a child can agree or disagree to a statement and explain, provided the answer is correct. It is not that he is giving a wrong explanation and we have to go with the explanation. Comment. So if it is a negative process, he should not say no, selection is a positive process because it is eliminating the unsuitable candidates. That is incorrect, completely wrong. That cannot be considered. But when we say comment, we need to make the child understand that justify is where you will agree to the statement and you will write for statement. Comment is something where you can agree or disagree, again here with proper justification, which is now this time in section B part, so which is for 30 marks. So this is where we complete the of 40-mark paper, the descriptive. So we have different types of questions. We have descriptive, we have difference, we have the comparative, we have short notes also this time, and we have the direct questions. And finally, we have final accounts, which is given in the text, in the paper itself, in the fill in the blank form.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at rupees 1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tuesday and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Now coming to a little kind of change what is happening from semester 1 to semester 2, and then we came up with a module now where we are having prelims. We had the date of submission of our projects to be finished very early, and council changed the date to little later period. So things just came up, kept coming. We had after semester 1, children did not have much time to bridge the learning gap, to know how to cover up things. Even for commercial, they used to focus commerce kya hai, commerce theek hai, commerce chalta hai. This was the attitude. This is the attitude. हो जाएगा. Now, but when they sit to study, they realize that there is no way where how do I study? There's so much to study. And sometimes as a teacher, we used to feel we have made so many MCQ papers, so many. You will all agree with me. So many papers we have made. Now if you tell me to make one paper, I get so bored that again I have to sit and make an MCQ, because when I saw the fill in the blanks, I thought again an MCQ, a 10-mark MCQ. But nevertheless, because for our students, that's my passion. So again, we sat, you start and you go again, the same procedure, the same circle. What I would suggest you is, as teachers, you try and put in this into your commerce student, that study skills, how to develop that study skill, how to manage time, how to manage emotions. Most important thing. As a teacher, we are also stressed, a lot of stress. I do not enjoy hybrid teaching at all. I don't like paying attention to the class, also in the class and on the LED screen also, and go with my laptop to class with so many things. So as teachers, we have learned a lot, no doubt. There was no lockdown on our learning during the May vacation, or when we talk about the March-April lockdown. We kept learning, whether it's a webinar, whether how to teach on Zoom, how to share screen, how to make up, how to record lessons, so many things. Now this is the time, as teachers, we need to make our children understand how to manage emotions, how to try and be resourceful to the child, be available to the child. We are on a platform now, we are connected to. So wherever you feel that the child requires help, please go ahead and help the child. That's the most important thing. And you have to keep the aim of getting 100 on 100. So if you have 61 students, every student of yours should be capable of getting that 100 on 100. Please keep that aim. That aim should come from you as teachers. So we have learned how to manage time. We know how to, and identifying the gap which is there between every child will have a different learning problem, or probably some kind of a gap. That gap of learning, you have to bridge the gap as a commerce teacher. So somewhere the child may have a problem in final accounts. As I told you, principles of insurance, children tell me we are stressed. We look at the principles of insurance and we feel, oh, why principles we have to do. But because the portion was completed much before, and now it is all revision time which is going on. So revision is taken very lightly. We have to try and make it more interactive, making it more, giving them more of writing practice. They are reluctant to write, let me tell you. Reluctant, they don't want, they are okay with MCQ papers also. So there is test anxiety, exam anxiety, and there is time management and study skills. Tell them you got to cope up with everything. As teachers, we do, as individuals, we do. Students also need to do this. Only then they get good results. We all know very well that everyone is not learning in the same manner. Everyone is different. You, me, every teacher is different. Every teacher's style is different. Teaching style is different. But you make sure that whenever you are conveying something, do not try and put it in a manner where the child finds it very difficult. You try to go down to the level of the student. Finally, there are certain things where we got to tell the children to remember, read. So it is when they keep forgetting. So when we talk about our memory or a student's memory, how it works, we have to keep them revising and revision in the not in the same monotonous way. Try and make it impactful so that they remember. That's the most important thing. Our idea should not be that a commerce student only should get this much marks. Our idea should be that the child takes the learning home and applies it gradually. Ultimately, of course, marks is something which is very, very important. We are all kind of judged accordingly, or kind of tagged accordingly, that oh, so many students got so much marks, or so many hundreds coming up. That is a different thing. But as a teacher, you try and put in a lot of effort, rather 100%, 200%. I'm sure you all must be doing it. But that as what I have done over the years, I'm just trying and putting across matter to you, that how put it in a manner where they can revise. And how do we train them? One is this note learning. Try and make your notes colorful, your PPT is colorful. You try and make them understand that there are different ways where a child can understand how to write. Writing a 2-mark answer, children didn't know when they came back after semester 1 examination. When we started writing, I said, Chalo, we will take 2 marks questions. They had forgotten completely. And why 4 keywords? Why so much to write? Why such less to be written? So it is very important to tell them to write. They are reluctant to write. We need to tell them there is a lot of time still. Exam is not next month, so we have ample time to make them understand that they have to write. We do not have many papers. We have made ourselves papers. What I have done is I have referred to 2015 to 2020 papers, past papers, and the questions which were there, which are pertaining to the syllabus, those questions I have made practice papers accordingly. And those practice papers I have given to students for them to solve the papers. I myself have solved one paper in class with them, making them understand that 2 marks के लिए कितना लिखना है, 3 marks के लिए कितना लिखना है. If it's a short note, what you have to write. And mind mapping, all these organizational charts, this is one way of learning. So you can have these steps in the selection process in this manner. Functions of, because those answers are there. Then we have the capital functions. I have taught my students the functions of capital market in the same manner. So that way you can do capital market. And finally, that is one very important thing. What I don't know why this thing has come up, that we have to tell the children, most important thing, that board exam and specimen papers are their friends now. For now, from the prelim examination, it is very important, and make sure that all students attempt prelim examination. So if you are having a prelim examination in your school shortly, you encourage them to attempt the paper, attempt the examination rather. The timetable has to be prepared very well. Complete the incomplete. So complete the incomplete basically is, I suggest students, or rather I always convey students, towards the end, this is not the time to learn something new. Keep revising, but in between there's something which the child has missed on and is not able to understand. That completion should be done now. So it is not learning, but basically understanding. So you complete the incomplete, which probably something where the child has forgotten and you've done it before, much before. You try and complete the incomplete. And do not believe in this is the new thing which I've added in my PPT since semester 1 examination, or rather last year also when we did the session, that we will not believe in rumors. There will be MCQ only. There will be no exam. Means if there's no exam, what will happen? How will they give us marks? Why are the marks not released till semester 1? We do not care about all that. And the formula, which is 55 minutes plus 5 minutes formula, is that you study for 55 minutes, take a break of 5 minutes, again come back to study. This is basically for all subjects, they should do this. And believe me, if they follow, and you as a teacher should put it across in a manner where they try and imbibe and take whatever the teacher is conveying. That's the most important thing. And if you try, and rather, if you're able to convince your student and your student is doing, that's the result what we want. So it's not always about the marks what the child is getting, it's about the learning also what is taking place.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutor and avail your courses at affordable prices.
So coming back to the semester 2 portion, we'll just discuss the semester 2 paper. I will share the screen now. I hope the screen is visible. So ICSE semester 2 examination, the specimen question paper. So we have the paper carries 1.5 marks, 1.5 hours time duration, 40 marks paper. They have given this time 10 minutes. Earlier also 10 minutes were given for the MCQ paper for semester 1. So they have this 10 minutes, whether in this 10 minutes they will be able to, so a kind of reading time is given to them. That's quite good. They have been given reading time. So let's discuss, let us have an interactive session here. So the first question, the answer here, the dash budget contains an estimate of the total volume. What is the answer here, teachers? Any one of you, please?
Yes, ma'am. Production budget, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It is production budget. The next one, dash market consists of all organizations, institutions, instruments to provide long-term funds.
Capital, ma'am. Capital
market.
Capital.
Correct. Capital market. Then the next one, the capital of the company is divided into equal parts, which are called as shares. Correct. Dash selection test seeks to measure candidates' capacity to learn particular skills and test potential abilities. Aptitude test. Perfect.
Aptitude.
Yes. This is, my children were jumping when they were answering this positive process. So it is recruitment.
Recruitment.
Yes. Dash function of the central bank involves settling of claims. See the keyword very clearly mentioned, settling of claims of commercial bank.
Yes. Clearing house.
Book entry. So it is clearing house. Yes. The next one, the 7th one, do not carry voting rights. It is the
Preference shares.
Yes. Then the result of the trading account, very clearly mentioned. What do we transfer to profit and loss?
Gross profit.
Gross profit.
Correct. And dash is an establishment for storage. What is the establishment for storage?
Warehouse.
Correct. Warehouse. Next one, a promise to compensate. What is the promise to
Indemnity.
Principle of indemnity. Yes. Coming to section B now. I explain application blank as a step in the selection process. We need to understand they are not asking what is application blank. They are asking why, explain application blank as a step in the selection process. So we need to mention the purpose of application blank. In the textbook, the answer is very clearly given. Application blank, why application blank is required. We don't have to write what is application blank. You have to write as a step in the selection process. What is the importance of application blank in the selection process? Why the candidate has to write details so that the record is maintained. So that is what is very important. What we are comprehending or interpreting the question. That's the most important thing. Now next one is very simple, production budget. Now in application blank, we need to remember 4 keywords are required. So 4 keywords as a step in the selection process. Now production budget, what is a production budget? Production budget, again 4 keywords. Here you need to mention it is prepared by works manager. That point also can come, and by default they have given the answer here only in the first part about production budget. First answer itself, the first blank which is given, that also clearly gives you the answer for production budget. So 4 keywords, they are not restricting to only you have to write this. They say what is production budget, so you write the concept of production budget, who is preparing it, that is enough for a production budget. Then explain any 3 reasons why warehousing is important. Significance of warehousing. So when we talk about the significance or importance of warehousing, caption and explanation in the next line. So when it is seasonal production or seasonal demand or any other point particularly, you see to it that the child is writing the caption, the header point, and the explanation. We will have different children writing too much for 3 marks. Let them write. I don't tell them to reduce and all. They only need to know how to manage time. They need to complete. They will have to complete the paper, which I'm sure many of them are able to complete the paper, because the burden of final accounts has gone down. It's only fill in the blanks. That time there is saved here where they can write. Explain any 3 principles of insurance. So any 3 principles, whichever principle the child is comfortable with. You try and make practice papers where you give principles with tag the name of the principal, so that you make sure that all the principles are learned. By the board exam time, they know what is doctrine of subrogation, they know what is mitigation of loss, they know what is utmost good faith, and what is principle of indemnity or contribution. So tag the principles of insurance rather giving such in just form. This may come in the board examination, any 3 principles. But when we make practice papers, we should make papers where we are tagging the name of the principal so that it is clear to the children. Then explain mobile wallet, that is e-wallet. Mention about it is linked to the account. Mention why mobile wallet, it is 24/7 available. If you want to mention about the UPI number, that also can be mentioned about the UPI number. So if you want to give the full form of the UPI and full form, that also can be given. So pertaining to the textbook only, not going too much into detail. Insurance, the contract in writing, there are certain keywords which are very, very important. So if we go to the chapter logistics, just to give you one example, logistics and insurance, page 190, where you have meaning of insurance, we have various different definitions given. I have not neither taught definition to children. I have explained the paragraph which is given, which says thus. So I have made them strike out the thus. So make the I capital. So insurance will be defined as a contract in writing. That becomes one keyword, whereby one party is known as the insurer, undertakes to indemnify to the other party called the insured in consideration of a certain sum of money, which is called as premium. Even if this much the child writes, the child will get marks. Further on, against any loss as a result of some uncertain event. So this completes the answer. Further on, I make the child even write about the contract providing for insurance is also known as the insurance policy. So if you make the, try and make your answer where the child is able to understand and put it in a manner where not giving definitions or anything, then definitely it becomes easier for students also to learn. Now write short notes on fire insurance and cash credit. 3 marks, 1.5 mark each. Fire insurance 1.5 mark. Cash credit 1.5 mark. You need to again know very well. You have to hit the highlight point should be there. For cash credit, it is important. They should know cash credit different hai overdraft se. Or cash credit mein hota kya hai, that they need to know when they write the answer. I am not going into the concept details. I'm going through the paper, so that's why I'm not going into that why cash credit and what is cash credit. External recruitment. What is external recruitment? 1 mark. Explain employment exchange recommendation. Very clearly 3 mark answer. 1 mark for external recruitment, 1 mark for employment exchange, and 1 mark for recommendation. Try to, when you solve the paper with the children, make them understand that that's how they have to break the answer when they are reading it themselves, when they are giving the board exam. What is a budget? Budget is a detailed plan of action for a specified period. That's important. We just can't write a plan of action for a specified period or for a financial year. If they want to be more specific, they can write that way also for the financial year. So it's important. They cannot write about budgeting, though again at the council level we may give marks, but the child should know budget and budgeting are 2 different things. Explain placement agency as a source of external recruitment. Your 4 keywords are required. It's the external source of recruitment. Only one placement, one particular source is asked. So 4 important keywords are required. Explain any 3 steps in the selection process. Now here it is very simple. Any 3 steps. So any of the 3 steps the child can take. The first 3 he may take the last 3, or he may take the first one, third one, and the 9th one, whichever he feels, because the question is very clear. Any 3 steps of the selection process. Write short notes on discounting of bills of exchange. Let the example be the same what is given in the textbook. We do not refer to any other example. Let them know that they have to write with the example. It is for 1.5 mark. Let them write what is discounting of bills of exchange and then the example. IMPS, let them write the full form. That will carry half mark or maybe 1 mark, and then the explanation. So the explanation will carry again 1 mark and half mark for the particular matter. What is given, the full form, what is given. Suppose if your explanation is not, maybe not proper, or somewhere you feel there's some word given, the expansion will be considered, and the expansion will have more weightage. In question number 5, central bank. What is a central bank? So you can talk about the central bank, talk about the Reserve Bank of India also in the central bank. In our country, it is the Reserve Bank of India. There is a difference given between commercial and central bank. There are many points given. 2 points or 3 points you take where you have keywords that will summarize the answer. Especially for 2 marks answers, do not make them write in points and points. If they have asked a concept, let them write in a para form. What is a master budget? It is a summary of all the budgets. That is the answer where we give marks. Explain any 2 functions. Again here, any 2 functions, 1.5 mark each, half mark for the caption and 1 mark for explanation. The functions of central bank. Then we have the short notes, intellectual property fraud. Very clearly, intellectual property fraud. Why it is related to banking? Why intellectual property fraud? Or what is intellectual property fraud? As I told you. Now again here only meaning is being told. Then we have the internet and cyber fraud. So we will be finishing. We talk about the internet and cyber fraud also. Then we have the difference between debit card and credit card. Not a debtor. We do not go with such answers. Make them understand that the credit card holder is so, debit card holder is so, or the card holder. Make them understand that they have to write complete statement. 2 disadvantages on internal recruitment given in the textbook. And here we have the final accounts. They have given this time there is no header, so you don't have to worry in the books of so and so person. Everything is given very well. It's only the child should post the entries correct. Yes, Miss Kritika.
Ma'am, I have a question here that
Yes.
when they are completing this table, will they be only writing the blanks or will they be copying the full table again?
See, they will be copying the full table again, no? They will not be, they will have to copy the whole thing again.
Not just the blanks.
Yes, because what paper which I have made for prelim, I have given the same blank form, but we expect the child to complete because we would want the answers, no? Otherwise, how
because
do we get
normally when I was giving the papers, I had asked them to make the full final account.
Correct.
Right. But
yes.
now with this fill in the blank thing, there was this confusion amongst many of us that will they be only writing the blanks, or because that would save their time, or they would copy the full
no,
table.
they will have to, but how will they otherwise calculate? I feel
true.
if they could completely write, or if it's only posting the entries, तो फिर ये करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Then they will only ask how much is purchases. Answer तो already दिया है. सिर्फ ये post करना है, they will have to write it.
Okay.
So gradually maybe
Excuse me,
more.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, here where the blank is there, they have given the numbers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I think it is only the answers that needs to be done, because this format is also that we are not like following. We follow the entire trading and PL format. So this format is also not correct as per this.
But madam, see madam, nowhere in the paper it is mentioned that you fill in the blanks. They have said use the following trial balance to complete the final accounts. Either they give a perforated paper and they say that you attach like how they give in the map, or they may ask, see, it depends upon what I am doing is for now, I am telling them to copy and write the answer, giving them that practice. So wherever there is a blank, they are writing it, they are underlining it, so that we know that that's the answer, because otherwise there's no way out. Then how will you, then they will only put returns. This is purchase return and opening stock. How will you calculate? So you will be only calculating on the basis of the blanks. You are saying that. How we did the question number 1. Only putting answers.
No, ma'am, it is actually wherever the blank is, there is a number, question number given, like 1, 2,
Understood.
3. So
Yes.
maybe, if they write in that manner, because copying the entire thing and then within 1.5 hours, I think it will be a bit challenging.
So let's see if I see this is still not clear here that they will be copying or not. What I have told children is that they have to copy. For now, yes, we are making them copy the question and do the work.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tuesday and avail your courses at affordable prices.